Hi, welcome back to my podcast, Filmmaking Actually. Here is part 2 of our script supervision panel. If you haven't listened to part 1, you can go ahead and just listen to this episode. But if you want to get the full experience, I recommend popping back one episode and listening to part 1. Here is part 2.
One other thing, just, on indie film or non-union films, you can do things that you can't do on union films. And one of the things that some of the lines are starting to get blurred a little bit, because we get asked a lot. I take continuity pictures. There's some script supervisors. I do it with my phone. Other people have all this equipment and they're plugging in and they're doing this and they can hit a button and all of this. And a lot of them will record shots. And then someone comes to them and say, hey, can you play that back for me? I need to check something. Or the director wants to see the shot. That's a union violation. That's a very specific playback. Record and playback is a very specific union job. And with this advent of cell phones, you'll see, there's going to be a huge explosion. There'll be 10 people behind you filming it on the monitors. Most of that is for their own edification, or I've seen the director ask, their assistant or someone to use their phone. Well, that's fine. They did that. But if you come to me and say, Shea, I know you just videotaped that explosion. We need to see it.
Nope.
I cannot show it to you. And if I do, I can get cited, which can get me kicked off the roster for a while. So, in your enthusiasm, if you're on a union set, that if someone says, no, I can't do that, understand that there's probably a really good reason they can't either help you do that job or can't replay something. I can show them stills, but that's something that we're finding we're being asked more and more. And it's like, we can't do it. We can't. And, sometimes they'll go, well, no one's going to know. And it's like, it's the same thing. I'm the script supervisor is the official timekeeper. Mm-hmm. So when they call lunch, I look at my clock, and if lunch, the 6-hour clock, lunch is supposed to start at 12 noon, and they call lunch and it's 12:01. And I've had this happen. Don't have an AD come over and say, yeah, we're just going to change it to 12. That is, again, a huge violation. I'm the official clock. Just because your clock said 12, what did my clock say? And that, because that affects people's paychecks, because now you're into a lunch penalty, or they're trying to get you out right at 12 because they don't want to go into that next half hour. And I've had union ADs or line producers going, yeah, we're just going to change that. And it's like, no, you're not. And if you are, you go right ahead, and I'll be talking to the people above you, because you're not the one, if someone questions it, that's going to get fired. I'm the one who's going to get fired. And so little things like that, be aware of as you move through your film career, that there's certain things, certain jobs are specific union rules and regulations. Indie films where it's non-union, that's a whole different ball game. But always, always, always think of safety. I don't care if you're a student film or a short film or indie or union, safety first. And if you feel that it's not safe, no matter what your position is, speak up and do not put yourself in jeopardy.
It's so important. It's funny because I mentioned, we've done non-union, we've done union, etc. There's some things like turnaround time. That's there for people's safety. They're going to be driving home. They have to sleep. They have to be awake the next day. You don't want an exhausted crew burnt out day 5. Like, you want them to be rested and functioning. General safety standards, first aid kits. Like, we always had, when we were filming during the pandemic, we had COVID certified people on set. It's, at the end of the day, it's a movie, and it is not worth anybody's life. And when you are independent, like, yes, if you're working with the union, you get the benefit of having those union professionals who have earned their place and they have the protection of the union because of the literal dues they have put in with their life. And you are getting access to them by agreeing to the union guidelines. If you want to go non-union, we will work with someone and, we'll honor their rate. We'll honor their schedule. Like we'll make sure that we're not putting them in a situation or putting a union member in a situation where now the value of them as union members is being denigrated. And some things, like, it's so simple, like just break for lunch or like, and if you're getting close to that 6 hour mark, stop.
I know some people think a lot of script supervisors, male or female, there's a lot, many more male script supervisors now than 10, 15 years ago, are bitchy. Oh, she's such a bitch, or, he's just nasty or something like that. Because we're trying to juggle so much and 5 people are standing behind me talking about, oh, and we went to lunch yesterday and we had such a good time and blah, 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 blah. And you're trying to figure out something. And yes, the cameras aren't rolling, but I'm still working. I am never not working, because on television shows, I get for an hour show, I get 2.5 days of paid prep. Well, you finish one episode, you start filming the next one the very next day. When am I doing my prep? I'm doing it on weekends. I'm doing it at night. I'm doing it at lunch. I'm doing it, there's 10 minutes for a wardrobe change. I'm prepping that next script. So I am always working, and that's what people, I think, don't understand. And so if, we're not paying attention to you, or I say, please, can you take your conversation elsewhere? I'm not being a bitch. I'm trying to be able to do my work. So
one of my very dear friends has a little placard on her desk. It says, "I'm not bossy, I'm the boss." And she is. She's the head of their company. And I think that, there's absolutely nothing wrong with holding your space and doing your job. So yeah, much respect for that.
Yeah, but that being said, I do know there's some script supervisors who are not that nice in the way that they say that. How I was trying, but at the same time, we need to be respectful as well.
Sure. It's that mutual respect that we were talking about earlier. All right, well, this is my last question, and then I'm going to go ahead and open it up. We still have about 15 minutes left for audience questions. So my last question is, what question would you have hoped or would you have loved for me to ask? And what is the answer to that question?
That's a great question, by the way. But I would say, and you touched on it a little bit, about what traits do I think are important for a script supervisor. But the question would be, can anyone do this job? No. And can anyone just step in and take over for you? No, even on non-union. There's very specific things that a script supervisor does. We didn't have time to talk about, what we deal with in post and
Oh, that's right.
editorial and stuff. But there's such specificity in a script supervisor's job that it's not a job for everyone. I'm a firm believer that no one should be miserable in their work that they do day to day. And if you are miserable in your work, you should probably start looking around for something else, because life is too short. So try script supervising. If it's not for you, that's fine. There's a lot of jobs on a production set. And I didn't answer this, how to go about being a script supervisor, or how do you get started? So, I think that's kind of part and parcel of that. And there's a couple good books out that you can read and your eyes will cross going, I do all this. And I fully say, if this is something that you might be interested in doing, take a class. There's people who teach, there's some who teach privately. Randy Feldman, she has a whole series of classes. She's, a very experienced but retired script supervisor and teaches now. And I would also, if you are a director, I would encourage you to take a script supervising class or at least read one of the books, because I would say a lot of times directors don't utilize what I can help them with, because they don't quite understand everything that I'm doing that's at my fingertips. And I think that I'm a tool for them. Utilize me. But if you don't understand what I do, you can't utilize me. So I think it would be great for, if you have, you want to direct or you already direct, really just do a little investigating as to what your script supervisor does so you can utilize them better for your own benefit and for the benefit of your project.
Amazing. No, I think that's great. And I went ahead, if the chat, I saw the chat was working for some people, so I went ahead and dropped the Instagram link and her website for Randy Feldman. If you'd like to.
Oh, great. She is who taught me 18 years
Oh, wow.
ago. At that point, she didn't have her classes going. She was teaching, but it was a UCLA extension class. And I took it to see, because as a writer, I needed a day job that would give me health insurance and, retirement. Hello. And
What's that?
what's that? And so I took her class to see if that was something I'd like to do. And I thought, yes, I can do this. I really enjoy it. And so then, did enough indie stuff that I got in the union and all of that. Whether it's Randy or someone else, if you want to be a script supervisor or want to go help someone on their indie project, at least read the book and then take a class. I mean, it's not something you can just pick up.
Awesome. Well, Chase here has a question. What does a script supervisor bring on set? What is your arsenal? Any tips for organization?
Yes. Well, when I started, it was all pencil and paper. So you had the huge notebook, you had the ruler, you had the stopwatch around your neck. The arsenal was a lot bigger. There's a couple different programs. I happen to use Script and then a capital E, going back to Script E, but that's the name of the computer program that it helps because you enter information once. And so back in the day, you'd have to, write the editor's log, then you'd write, the shot description, and there's a facing page to the line script page. Have any of you guys seen what a script looks like when a script supervisor has lined the shots on it? Straight line followed by squiggly, straight, or all squiggly or all straight. They have different meanings, and the editor looks at that, and it's another way for the editor to find the information that I'm trying to give them to make their job easier. And so that used to all be done by hand. So you're repeating writing information 3 or 4 times. Now these programs, you put it in once, and then it'll generate it onto different forms for you. So you're not getting carpal tunnel syndrome and stuff like that. So I have my iPad. I have, this program, Scriptation. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that. It's a great tool for breaking down scripts. They are now having an aspect of it that a script supervisor can utilize to line scripts and do facing pages and reports. There's another one. There's several out there. So you need that. I carry a little folding seat because while props are supposed to bring my chair, I have been known to be cross-legged in a bathtub looking at monitors. I have been underneath a desk on set with no monitor because the actor didn't know their dialogue and Video Village was too far away. So I needed to be on set so I could feed the actor line. So I'm literally at his feet underneath the desk. It's, you have to have your weather gear. You have to, because if you're out on location, it starts to rain, you better have that. You better have protection for your computer, your iPad. I use an iPad. You have to have really good shoes, really good rain gear, really warm clothes. When I know I'm doing a location shoot, I usually have half my wardrobe in my car, because worst comes to worst, if you start at 2 p.m. and it's 100 degrees out, but you're out in the desert, 1 a.m. in the morning, desert temperature, even in summertime, can drop. And so, the program times it. So there's a lot less. This is me, and this goes back to the pen and paper days, because we used to keep every draft of the script, because all of a sudden it's like, oh, we like that dialogue that was in, the initial draft, and now you're on, double pinks. Now that it's all on your iPad or your computer, but I still keep a hard copy of the most current script with me. That's pretty much it. Some people, like I said, have their own like little chair deck thing to take stills from. I don't. I try to be very mobile. There's some people who have all this gear and they have a stand, and then it takes them a long time to get to where they're going. I have a rolling backpack so that if I need to throw it on my back, I can. There's you can get things where you can roll them and then sit on them and put stuff inside them. I don't like those because, I'm sorry, one time I had to crawl down 2 ladders to get to the bowels of a ship where we were shooting. So I have a rolling backpack so I can either roll it or throw it on my back. And you should have some kind of portable stand. I have one that the tabletop, it's not super sturdy, but the tabletop comes off and it folds in. So it goes into my bag on my shoulder, because you get tired of holding your computer or your iPad, and anything you need for your electronics. But I'm sparse. I can pack up and boogie out to wherever I'm needed ASAP.
Amazing. Let's go ahead with Rachel, and this might be our last question. Oh, I guess Michael's going to slip in there.
Okay, can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Mhm.
Okay. I was just curious, what are the differences between script supervising like on a movie versus like a TV commercial? The reason I asked that is because I'm looking into doing commercial work, because I can't really do the really long hours for a movie right now. So I was just curious about that.
The way that you line your script is different on commercials. I'm not that familiar with it because I did 2 commercials and didn't like it. It's done differently. And the way that you slate your shots, because, when you see those cute slates and, the camera people are clapping the slate, all the slate number, I'm in charge of that, not the camera crew. And if they tell you different, I'm the keeper of the slate. And the way that they slate commercials is different as well. And I don't know enough about commercial script supervising to help you out on that. Now, just FYI, their hours of work for a shoot day can be as long as that of a movie. Some may be 8 hours, but that doesn't necessarily change. But I know some people who love doing commercials because they're in and out of the job in 3 days or 5 days, whereas a movie can be 120 days. A TV series, it depends on how many episodes you get, but we can go 9 months for a season of 18 or 20 episodes. So that's the day in, day out grind, whether it's movie or episodic. Also, just FYI, if you're doing the 3 camera half-hour comedy that's recorded in front of a studio audience, script supervising for those shows is also done differently. So that's different than commercials, which are different than either single camera comedies, which they're just filmed exactly the same way a 1 hour episodic is, or a movie. So if you hear, oh, it's a single camera comedy, it's shot more like a movie. Whereas if it's a 3-camera comedy, that's on stage in front of a live audience. And again, that I don't do. So, when you're looking into the commercial aspect, I wish I could help you. I think Randy, or there's some people out there who teach that. I wish I
We
could help.
also, oh, I was going to say, this panel is hosted by the Filmmaking Actually podcast, and there is an episode on there on networking, if that helps at all to try and find. But that actually is something that's really important to keep in mind. Not everyone in the film industry does everything in the film industry. And even if you meet someone who's like, oh, yeah, I'm a script supervisor, now you know to ask them, have you done commercials? And you can get an actual answer because it is very different. And I've been crew for commercials, episodic, features, studio, independent, and it's very different. Yeah.
I had a second question. Is that okay? Or are we out of time?
We are unfortunately out of
Okay.
time. Shay, is it okay if she emails it to us if we forward that to you? Does that?
Absolutely. Anybody who has a question that we didn't get to or wanted more clarification of something that I may have said, send them to Koura. I can send them back. I'm more than happy to answer more questions or go into more detail. It's there's a lot of detail to the work and how to do it, and it's not easy to cover everything in such a short amount of time, but I'm very happy to do so.
And I'm sorry, I don't want to deny the opportunity to get an answer, but we are running out of time. I'm so sorry. Well, let's just see how long Michael's question is. Maybe we'll come back to you, Rachel. Michael, go ahead.
Sure. I guess I was just curious, you're juggling so many things, and sometimes, so last week I was on one where there was 7 pages of dialogue, and the actors have been struggling with it a little bit. So I got to be on book. So I'm like trying to pay attention to the script and silently flip my page without, crinkling too loud. But I'm also trying to pay attention to 2 cams and their coverage. And anyway, there can be a million things. Sometimes it feels like literally physically impossible to do everything at once. So I guess just how often does that happen and how do you deal with it?
It's a hard job. We are responsible for so much more than anyone knows. And you can't be 100% on everything all of the time. And one of the traits that I've learned over the years is like, okay, you have 7 pages of dialogue. That's a boatload of dialogue. And, some actors are better at it than others. And you kind of learn, okay, who's really good on their continuity, who sucks. Yeah, just a lot of them suck, but a lot of them are spot on. They know exactly, they figured it out, or it's innate. And you learn who is good and who is not. And then you focus more on the ones who need more of your help. I also offer to actors, if they're struggling with a certain section, if we're waiting on lighting, do you want to run lines? Would it help to run that line? If not, no worries, but I'm here to help you. And then the bottom line is, you know what? You can't do everything every time, all the time. You do the best you can. And there's going to be someone who I've been yelled at. You turned that page too loud. I heard that. You have to be quiet, or I can't hear you. What was that line? Or you took 2 seconds, not 1, to give me that. And you get yelled at sometimes because they're in the moment. Sometimes they're just nasty people in every aspect of the business. Others just are known to not be nice, but you do the best you can. But try to give yourselves those shortcuts. Who can I pay less attention to? Who does know their continuity? Or if you notice, I went to this one actor on Major Crimes. He wore glasses. Oh my God. It was like boom, boom, on, off, every different way. So the next time he was on set, I said, hey, I noticed you like to utilize your glasses going on and off. Can we kind of, after rehearsal, see where it feels most comfortable for you? Some actors will go, no, it'll be what it'll be. But he was like, oh my God, please, let's do that. Once we did that, and then we started doing that every single scene he was in, he was spot on, because it was a nervous habit. So that's, you kind of learn how to help yourself as much as you can, and just know you can't do everything all at once, all the time.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
That's great. All right, let's see here. Rachel, let's see how quick your question is, if we can get it answered real quick before we wrap up. I feel bad. I want to get it answered.
It's okay. Thank you. I just so I do want to take a script supervising class, but I like learning in person, and the only class near me in person is $1,200, which I don't really have right now. So I was just wondering, like I know, like if you want to be a director, they say it's good to be an AD first. Mm-hmm. What is a good first position before moving into script supervising that someone with not a lot of experience can try to get? I don't know if there is one.
I
never AD'd before directing, by the way. Sorry, go on. I totally disagree with that. But anyway, go on. Sorry.
There really isn't. And we're trying through our union to get an apprenticeship program going just for this reason, because people get their hours, and because there's not one focus of learning, there's not a continuity of professionalism yet, because everyone learns differently. Do you know any? Where are you?
I'm near Oklahoma City.
Okay, yeah, okay. Do you know any script supervisors?
Yeah, I did a film workshop 2 years ago, and I met a script supervisor. At the time, she used to teach, and then she stopped for some family stuff. But I just actually, because of this class, I just messaged her.
That's what I was going to suggest, is because I think there's some people who teach via Zoom, which you can do. It's very hard to shadow a script supervisor, and because it's hard to ask us questions while we're working. And if you don't have a base of understanding the job, then everything we do just seems like, oh my God, what's going on? So I would find out, or try to find out, if she doesn't respond and say, hey, yeah, I can teach you or whatnot, see if she has any suggestions. Do you know anyone who teaches, who might be able to teach via Zoom? That would be, I think, a way to go, since where you're located, there's not a lot of production all the time. Productions come in, but it's not like Atlanta or LA or Albuquerque. I would try to do that. I would really reach out to her or any other script supervisor you might know. Check the universities, see if their film department doesn't have, even if it's like a one-day seminar on it. Now I know Randy travels a little bit. She does classes in New York, I think Chicago, LA. You can go to her website and see. And I don't know if she does anything virtually or not.
You can also do the School of Hard Knocks, which I just Googled it really quickly, and I saw there's a School of Visual Arts in Oklahoma City. I'm sure you're more familiar with this than I am. You can volunteer to work on student sets and help them and just figure it out. I mean, you can't like figure it out, but you can take this information, you can take other information, you can read up on it, and then you can go do it. And because it's a student film set, no one's going to know what they're doing. So you won't stand out. And then that's, if you've no other option, that's one.
But get some books on script supervising. Read them, because at least it'll break down the process of, this is what you need to do with prep, this is what your responsibilities are during shoot, and here's editing. And then that way it won't seem so foreign to you when you maybe do get an opportunity to just observe on set, or, as Koura suggested, volunteering on a student film. At least you know the basics from reading about it, and then it's experience. I got out of that Randy's UCLA extension class, and I did 2 AFI short films for nothing, just because I needed something on my resume. I wanted hours under my belt, and those are the places to not be top of your game, to get the experience and feeling comfortable in juggling so much.
That was a really
Thank
good
you.
question. I'm glad we stayed to get that answered. Amazing. Shea, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate this. I feel like this information was invaluable. Yeah, let's give her some
Yeah,
applause.
thank you. I like those applause.
This is amazing. The full video of the event will be on our Patreon. We do keep that. It's Space Dream Productions on Patreon. It's $1.99 a month. We try to keep it super accessible, and this panel and our previous panels are available there in full. But yeah, thank you everybody for being here. Shea, thank you so much for sharing your insight and your knowledge.
I hope it was helpful. I had a very good time. Thank you so much. Thank you for sticking with all of this. And I was glad to do it.
Yay! Amazing. Thank you, everybody.